I shall cause, oh, I shall cause, I shall cause, oh, I shall cause, I shall cause darkness seek to reach all the corners of the earth. Oh, I shall cause, oh, I shall cause, I shall cause, oh, I shall cause, I shall cause darkness seek to reach all the corners of the earth.
How tariffs are shaping our economy and your shopping basket. Mount Royal and an escape into our colourful natural world. An in-depth look into various species of birds and their benefit to our ecosystem.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of RoundUp. Yasir, how's your week been?
I'm doing alright, Nasir. But recently, I've been trying to wake up a lot earlier to try and reconnect with nature, but I end up falling back to sleep.
Well, you're going to do better than me because it's gotten so cold here in London that getting outside has become so difficult.
Well, today's episode is definitely going to push us to go outside and discover the natural world.
That does sound exciting, but before we jump into all those big stories, let's go straight to the headlines.
Assalamu alaikum, Jazib. It looks like you've had a rough week.
Welcome, Sam, Nasser and Yasir. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a mishap in the science lab yesterday, but raring to go with the headlines for today. The United Nations Security Council approved a US-drafted resolution endorsing US President Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza. The plan calls for establishing an international stabilization force to secure border areas and disarm Hamas. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry claims Israel has violated its terms almost 300 times, nearly a month after a ceasefire was announced. Strikes continue to kill and wound Palestinians in Gaza. Heavy winter rains are also worsening the humanitarian crisis as families living in makeshift tents are facing flooding and freezing temperatures. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visited the White House for discussions with the US President Donald Trump aimed at strengthening ties with a focus on economic development and investments. Both sides also addressed the situation in Gaza, emphasizing the need for stability and a long-term approach to resolving the conflict. Indonesia's Mount Semeru erupted on Wednesday, forcing over 900 residents of a local village to evacuate. Mud and ash flowed down the mountain at terrifying speeds, destroying homes, mosques, and livelihoods. Wildlife experts in Cambodia have released 2 captive bred stork chicks, marking it as the first successful captive breeding and release of the species. The chicks will be GPS tracked, with their survival during the first few months in the wild considered a key measure of success. The World Cup 2026 playoff matches are in place after the draw on Thursday. 6 more teams can qualify for the next summer's World Cup, 4 from Europe and 2 from the rest of the world. The playoff matches will be played in the last week of March. That's all from me here at the news desk. Back to you, Nasser and Yasir.
Jazakallah, Jazib. Stay safe out there. Now, we are heading into a global shopping season with Black Friday and holidays just around the corner. Be honest, Nasir, are you looking forward to it or pretending like you won't really spend any money?
Well, Yasir, I always say I'm not going to buy anything, but when the deals start rolling in and I see everything on the shelves, I need the things that I don't have in my life.
Exactly. But what I'm wondering is how all the noise about tariffs is going to affect those things I might want to buy.
Well, with that said, let's dive into it and find out more about these tariffs. You might want to hear this before you hit checkout.
Have you noticed that the cost of your favorite snacks have suddenly gone up? There is a lot going on affecting the cost of goods. But one thing that we all keep hearing this year is the word tariff. Let's learn more about it.
Tariffs. They sound like something straight out of a school textbook, but they're actually playing a role in our day-to-day lives right now. What exactly is a tariff?
So it's in fact tax on the goods being traded in. So if a country wants to buy something from abroad and is asking for some tax to be paid on those imports, that means import cost becomes higher. So if you are the other country and I'm the country who's importing stuff in, I'm going to charge you some tax to bring things in. right? So that means that things become more expensive. In the end, your local products become cheaper in comparison. Tariffs are neither good or bad, right? They are a tool in the toolbox of governments, right? If the intention is to protect your own weak industries, if it's defensive in nature, that's fine because you're trying to protect your own. But then if the objective is to, make your, supremacy in the world so prevalent and so sort of so people think, you are so strong and we can't live without being dictated by you. You're the dictator in everything. Then certainly it becomes a bad thing.
So, if tariffs are imposed by governments, who ends up paying that extra tax? Is it the governments that goods are being imported from, or companies doing the importing, or is it us, the people buying the goods?
In the end, it is going to be us. But to be fair, it's everybody, right? So in economics, it's simple. It's called law of demand. So when price goes up, demand of goods goes down. Mostly it happens, right? You are a company that wants to import from another country and importing goods or services, whatever. So let's say goods. So you as a company, you would try to either absorb that cost of the tariff by making it cheaper anyway, because if you make it still expensive plus the tax on top of that, people won't buy it from you. But also if you are a company that buys raw materials, for example, right? A lot of companies do buy raw materials and they manufacture within the country. So different raw materials come from different parts of the world and they become expensive. You have no other option. Either you're going to shut down, right? You shut shop. Yes, you don't produce anymore. Or you would lay off your workforce, which is happening already in the world.
Companies are being hit by tariffs and they are passing that cost on to us. That means the cost of our foods, clothes, gadgets, and really everything that has any components made outside our home countries will be affected.
Right now, whatever you have in this room, for example, a lot of things are imported. Clothes come from where? Bangladesh, it comes from Vietnam, China to an extent. Again, imported, yes. So phone has everything in that which comes from abroad, yes. Food is also on the table, it's coming from all over the world. Breakfast you have in the morning, for example, coffee is imported, Coke is imported, bananas imported. So they all be affected, and in the end, consumer has to pay a lot more.
Experts say tariffs are likely to remain a part of the economic landscape, but their hopes that businesses continue finding ways to keep prices manageable. But ultimately, it's up to us to manage our own budget and balance our need and wants.
Yes, don't let your emotions get the better of you, yes? Because sometimes you see things on your phone, great offers out there. You hear other people going for the Black Friday sales or Christmas sales or whatever they are. Don't do it because they are doing it. Do it because if you need it, first of all. Similarly, make a plan, make a budget for yourself. Not just in these days, but I think once you get used to it anyway, because budget means you've got some ceiling, some limit to your spending. And your spending limit should be where you earn or the money you get, pocket money or wherever the money is coming from. Credit cards are a great example of where they just entice you to buy, right? And you want to buy because you think you're going to pay later. So never forget, anything you've taken, you've got to pay back later, but with more money, with more interest on top of that, right?
So, this Black Friday, think carefully before you hit buy and spend your family's hard-earned money. The cost of living has gone up and we are consuming more than we need to, and tariffs are making things even more expensive.
Jazakallah for such useful information. It's really fascinating and definitely a story to keep an eye on.
100%. And whether you're grabbing something on sale or just browsing, at least you'll know what's happening behind the price tags.
Right. Next, we will be taking a look at Hazur's guidance this week with a short summary of the recent Friday sermon.
This week, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz, continued describing the expedition of Tabuk, a moment when the Muslims faced deep plots from the hypocrites, Jews and Christians who wanted to harm the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yet, every time defeat looked certain, Allah protected the Muslims in extraordinary ways. During the return from Tabuk, a group of hypocrites made one final attempt on the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They planned to attack him at night on a narrow mountain path by startling his camel and making it look like an accident. But Allah informed the Prophet ﷺ of the plan, so he travelled on the shortcut with only 3 trusted companions, while the rest of the army took the wider path. Even then, around a dozen hypocrites, with their faces covered, tried to rush towards him. they were chased off, and their plot instantly failed. Although the Prophet ﷺ later learned their names through divine revelation, he refused to punish them. He said he did not want people to say that once his battles with disbelievers ended, he began harming his own people. Hazur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz reminded Muslims today that anyone who professes the Islamic creed cannot be harmed. This is the clear example of the Prophet ﷺ. Hazur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz also spoke about Masjid al-Dirar, a false mosque built by the hypocrites near Quba, a secret headquarters to divide Muslims and support enemies like the Roman Empire. When the Prophet ﷺ returned from Tabuk, God revealed their real intentions, and the Prophet ﷺ ordered the building to be destroyed, showing that Islam only takes firm action when public safety is at risk, not out of anger or revenge. When the Prophet ﷺ reached Medina, the people came out and welcomed him home with joy. He expressed his deep love for the city and said that even those who stayed behind due to illness or poverty still shared the reward of the journey because their intentions and prayers were sincere. Key takeaways from this week's sermon. The Prophet ﷺ showed strength through patience, not revenge. Intentions matter as much as actions. Your prayers and efforts count. Be alert to negative influences disguised as something good.
Jazakallah for that summary. Just a reminder, as always, you can watch the full Friday sermon on the MTA Online 1 YouTube channel and on the MTA app, available in many languages.
And once you have caught up listening to the most recent Friday sermon, you can head outdoors to enjoy the beautiful natural world.
Indeed. Whether it's animals or the trees or the plants around us, there's always something for us to enjoy. So let's head to Montreal, Canada for a hike with a bit of history.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bienvenue à Montréal, the home of ice hockey, the famous Olympic Stadium, and Montreal Park, a luscious crown in the middle of a concrete jungle. As autumn paints the city in red and gold, Montreal becomes Montreal's own postcard, a reminder that even in the city, nature holds its own rhythm. Follow me as we find the best spots to see autumn colors and stunning views. We're starting our climb right here from Sir Georges-Étienne Cartier Monument on University Avenue, named after one of Canada's founding fathers and one of Montreal's most recognizable figures. This is where most hikers start their journey into one of Montreal's greatest escapes into nature. Today, Mount Royal is much more than just a park or a landmark. It's the heart of the city of Montreal. Designed in the 1870s by visionary architect Frederick Law Olmsted, the same visionary behind New York Central Park. Olmsted believed that every great city needs a green space, a place to escape, to reflect, and to breathe. We've reached the end of the first flight of stairs, one of many to come. Now a little history lesson. Mount Royal is part of the Montérégion Hills, a group of igneous rock formations, like the ones here, that formed over 125 million years ago. This beautiful mountain air. We're making really good progress on the climb. Now, Mount Royal was discovered by Jacques Cartier in 1535, one of the first French explorers in what is now called Quebec. He named the mountain Royal to honor the then King of France, Francis I. In 1643, when Ville-Marie, the first name of the city of Montreal, ran a risk of being flooded, the then leader and founder of the order, Paul de Chaumédé de Maisonneuve, prayed fervently to God and promised to carry a cross to the top of the mountain if the city survives the flood. And then we walked, and we walked, and we climbed, and we climbed. 250 meters straight into the sky, to be exact. And then we walked some more, until we finally made it to the chalet. Take a look at this amazing view. A sea of gold, orange, and red in every direction. Right over there, you can see the famous Jacques Cartier Bridge spanning the St. Lawrence, while downtown Montreal's skyline rises proudly just beyond. And winding around the southern edge of the island, the mighty river glimmers in the sunlight, completing this breathtaking panorama. Mount Royal has so much more to offer. Did you know there's even a lake on the mountain? Let's go check it out. Beaver Lake reflects the beautiful autumn colors like a natural mirror. Built in the 1930s, the lake has become a very popular spot for families, joggers, and photographers, offering a peaceful escape surrounded by red, orange, and gold foliage. In the winter, the lake turns into a beautiful skating rink, but today, it's the best spot to look at autumn colors. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. Remember that the next time you happen to be in Montreal, the best place to enjoy a truly magnificent Canadian autumn is right here in Parc de Montréal. Signing off from MT International Canada Studios, Montreal Bureau.
Jazakallah for taking us on that hike together. I've learned so much, and I think I might even start brushing up on my French again. Now, Nasir, if you had to pick a favorite bird, which one would it be?
Oh, that's a tough question. But if I was going to be honest, I would have to say a penguin. I just find them really cute.
Yeah, but that's a great choice. Our next story takes us into the world of bird species, and you might just spot something you like, Nasir.
There are at least 11,000 species of birds in the world, and these stunning creatures aren't just pleasing to the eye, they are integral to the global ecosystem. Here at Birdworld in Borden, we're going to take a look at some of them and speak to the people who are taking care of some of the most endangered birds in the world. Come with me and let's take a look. I met Polly and Mandy from Birdworld, who introduced me to all the different birds on the site. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Nice to meet you. Hello there.
Excited to see some birds?
Yeah, lovely. So much going on.
So what kind of birds here do you have at Birdworld?
We've got loads of birds here at Birdworld, of course. We've got all sorts of different species. Of course, starting with the penguins, really, really popular. The flamingos. We have lots of wetland birds here behind me. We've got our amazing Owl Academy as well. Parrots galore, my goodness. And lots of endangered species as well, haven't we?
So why are birds here so important for the ecosystem?
So birds have such a huge role to play in the ecosystem. There's a diversity of birds that really sees into all the categories of habitats and all the food chain side of things. So if you look at something like a penguin in particular, we laugh at how much they poop in our penguin pool, but actually that is so important. It provides so much nutrients into that water, which sustains so much of the fish life. And that's just in the water side of things. You can look at parrots. Parrots are a really destructive bird. In the best possible way. So they will be up in the trees in big flocks. They'll be pulling apart those trees. They'll be making large holes in the cavities of those trees. They'll be knocking fruits down onto the floor. All of these things, everything about that is actually a real positive for the ecosystem. The different animals that then can nest in those holes they've created, the animals on the floor that get a chance to get fruits that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get up into the trees for.
Polly and Mandy then took me to see some endangered penguins.
So penguins get subdivided into groups. So the African penguins and the Humboldt penguins are similar, but I have to say I think the African penguins are a bit prettier. She's wonderful.
How does a bird become endangered?
Goodness, where do you start? There are so many different ways that a bird can become endangered, and so much of it is to do with people, unfortunately. With the penguins in particular, the African penguins, a lot of their fish has been taken away from them. We have a problem with overfishing. Also pollution. Pollution in the ocean can be a real big problem for them, of course. Lots of ocean animals are going to get caught up in pollution, and old fishing nets maybe, that's a real issue for them.
And how are you trying to preserve this species of penguin?
There's conservation groups, so for this species in particular, SANCOB is a South African conservation organisation that focuses on the African penguins. A lot of work goes on into ensuring that the nests are preserved and protected. So the penguins like to return to the same nest area year after year after year. And we're going to go back to penguin poop on this one, because actually they use their poop to create these nests and really make a nice solid area that can protect the eggs and the chicks. So it's important that we don't disturb those nests, and year after year the penguins can return.
Birdworld is home to many different kinds of birds, even owls, like Hedwig from Harry Potter.
But that's not Hedwig. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to be kind to animals and protect all creatures of God. Once, someone traveling with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took some eggs from a nest, which visibly caused the mother bird grief. The Prophet saw this and told the man to return the eggs. He taught that there is a reward for being kind to every living thing. Preserving endangered species is vital to protect our world. When a species goes extinct, it can disrupt the whole global ecosystem. That's why the work at places like Birdworld is so important.
Jazakumullah for that insight. It's such a good reminder for us to be more mindful of the natural world.
You're right, Yasser. And it's good to know that even small actions help. Supporting conservation charities, reducing plastic waste, or even simply learning about endangered species can make the real difference.
And that brings us to the end of this week's episode of Roundup. We hope you enjoyed today's stories and features.
If you'd like to watch this episode again or catch up on any that you've missed, please head over to MTA News channel on YouTube or visit the MTA app.
You can also follow us on Instagram at RoundUpMTA for extra clips, updates, and some fun behind-the-scenes moments.
And if you have any feedback or ideas for the future, you can send them through the MTA app or email us at roundup@mta.tv.
We will be back next week with more news and inspiring stories from around the world. But until then,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call. That may seek to reach all the corners of the earth. Oh, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call. That may seek to reach all the corners of the earth. Oh, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call, oh, I shall call, I shall call. That may seek to reach all the corners of the earth.